he didn't raise a gallop again today. That's 2 games against Wolves that he's been poor. Let's not forget, as good a team as they've built at Wolves, they are a promoted side.
Yeah.
And they've just beaten Manchester United twice in the space of a couple of weeks. I mean, that's telling a story. But I honestly think this whole bubble about the interim manager comes in, everybody gets a lift, everybody gets a spark, it's gone.
Yes.
It's well and truly gone. We're in the reality stakes here now.
Honeymoon is over.
It is well and truly over. Well, of course, he's got this contract now, so the honeymoon is over. Well and truly. And I'll go back to my point, and something might happen. They might beat Barcelona. I don't think so, but it's not the more. You know, they've beaten PSG. Yeah. You can get a bit of luck. They can have a bad day, and you can win. But I go back to this. When you look at Man United, this team, these players, people were getting carried away with the results when it was papering over the full rebuild that this team needs. And I know they had still had some injuries. And the big question here is, and it's the point I was making early in the week, and Stevie was making it, is how can such an inexperienced manager oversee such a big rebuild of the biggest club in world football? Because if you don't think it needs half a dozen players because they've won X amount of games a few weeks ago, then you're living in cloud cuckoo land.
And he needs Paul Pogba. You know, I gave Pogba a break when Mourinho was there because I thought most of it was all down to Mourinho. But the fact is, Paul Pogba, when Manchester United are doing well, he's front and centre.
Yep.
But when they're not doing well, he disappears. And people should understand when you have to have an influence on a team, you have to be able to do it when things are going badly. And if you're Paul Pogba and you're supposed to be the man, you should be either getting everybody running around, getting everybody in a position, make it known that you're actually doing something, you're influencing the side. And that's the biggest problem. When Man United don't do well, Pogba disappears completely.
I just tend to disagree a little bit. I think Paul Pogba is doing all the things that he's always been doing, and he even does with the French national team.
Jack, what did he do today?
The issue is little slide rule balls, and let me get to this point. Little slide rule balls into Lukaku, which Lukaku we didn't read or didn't understand and Rice didn't pick up. I think the big difference here is this is a bang average Manchester United team. And I couldn't disagree more with Mark Ogden's article or what he's suggesting. Hold on. How can you compare Paul Pogba to the likes of Brian Robson and Roy Keane when you look at their teams?
Absolutely you can, by the way.
I'll
tell you something.
Look at the teams.
I played against Brian Robson, Shaka, and I can assure you, when Manchester United weren't doing well, there was only one guy that you could always say you couldn't point a finger at. It was him, because he wasn't making runs into the box and scoring goals. You know what he was doing? He was going around. He was either kicking the opposition or having a go at his own teammates to make sure that they did something.
My point is this, Steve. This is a bang average Manchester United team.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
If you look at this team, De Gea, Paul Pogba and maybe Rashford apart, nobody else even gets into the squads of a Brian Robson Manchester United or a Roy Keane's Manchester United. Not even into these squads.
That's not the point. My point is an influence in a game.
My point is there is nothing anybody can do to really influence this Manchester United.
So he can't do more?
He can't influence this Manchester United team.
Well, he's an easy target. He doesn't have any influence.
He's an easy target because of his price tag.
No.
There is nobody outside of Messi and Ronaldo who comes into this Manchester United and has the kind of impact that we are asking of Paul Pogba.
I'm not asking him to make defence splitting passes and score a hat-trick. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about actually looking as though you're having an influence when things are going against you, that you're either getting your team together, you're either making challenges, you're going around making sure that you have an influence.
But listen, at the same time, Manchester United playing against a Wolves team that are sat virtually the edge of their own box. He's sitting off, trying to find pace, trying to pick passes to the likes of Lukaku, who those two weren't on the same wavelength. I think Lukaku has to bear a lot of the blame there. And then outside of that, what do you do sitting just into your half?
Well, you know when they lose the ball, you go and win it back. You know when Lukaku gives it away, you go and win the ball back. That's what you do. He doesn't do that.
Fred gives the ball away 10 yards outside his own box.
Yeah, but
so what's Pogba supposed to do there?
We can't compare. Well, no, but he's got to do more in the game. I mean, Shaq, I understand. I totally agree with you. They are an average United side. And there's no... But... And He's the talisman. He's the most talented player they've got. But talent alone is not enough for Manchester United at the moment. There needs to be other things. There needs to be grit and determination and graft. And I don't think we see enough of it from him. To go back to Stevie's, I'll use Brian Robson because that's who
He's
you
the
brought
best
up.
example.
And you're talking about an average United team. Let's not get away with ourselves here that when Sir Alex Ferguson first went to United, it took him years to win the league because they were an average United side. But I tell you what, he stuck out like a sore thumb. Brian Robson stuck out like a sore thumb because he was the leader and he was the captain. And not until he was able to go out and put better players next to him were they starting to be successful. Anyway, the other side is Barcelona next, then West Ham, then Barca again, then Man City, then Chelsea. Ooh. We could get to a point in 5 games' time where Ed Woodward is sat locked in a little office somewhere thinking, what the hell have I done?